Let's do this one more time. My name is Master Nate, and I was bitten by a radioactive semi-truck, and since then, I've been disabled from the waist down. I used to be a normal small-time YouTuber. I made a couple videos which a couple people have seen, and some that no one has. The last time I made a video was a whole 6 months ago, and throughout the 6 months, I went through a lot of change.
Yeah, big change.
I went through a lot of soul searching, and I thought my YouTube phase was behind me. But then recently, something strange happened to me. Really strange. I went outside, and I watched the new Spider-Man No Way Home movie, and it reignited that spark. Reignited the need to make YouTube content again. But what would I make? That question has been bothering me for some time. 6 whole months to be exact. But I realized, who cares? I'm not going for an Oscar here. So if you like videos that seem to have no concept of a beginning, middle, or an end, then
You're gonna love me.
Marvel Spider-Man 2. Marvel Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac will be coming to PS5 sometime in 2023. So we got a trailer out, or a first look. The reveal trailer pretty much shows the right amount that captures your attention and your interest, but doesn't show you the whole movie, like Michael Bay's Ambulance trailer. Thank you, Michael Bay, for saving me $11.
Give me what I desire.
Miles Morales and Peter Parker are back as the Spider-Mans of New York, and they look like they're set to collide with Venom and Kraven the Hunter, who is most likely going to be a main character of this game due to him having a whole monologue in the background of the trailer.
You didn't see that coming.
Before I give my 2 cents on what I think about the future, first we got to take a quick talk about the past. Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, or as I like to call it, Marvel Spider-Man Full Price DLC. Nah. Both PlayStation exclusives are pretty decent games, and if you're looking to mess around and feel like a superhero, I mean, you have a blast.
Heavy payload. Copy, Helix 2, we've got you on scope.
Flashback to 2018, the start of the Battle Royale craze. Fortnite was pretty much the most popular game on the market, and it seemed to signal the end of the single-player scene. But then, the big 3 showed up. Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, and God of War. It all helped to not only show that single-player games aren't dead, but they are very, very much alive and thriving. I've said in one of my videos that I was an Xbox guy all my life until 2018. Marvel Spider-Man had just been released, and I knew it was time for a change, and I haven't looked back since. Marvel Spider-Man was a really big deal to me. I mean, it was my first ever PS4 game I owned, and I played it for countless hours, and just the joy of feeling like I was Spider-Man was enough.
Adventure strives to make you feel like Spider-Man.
It didn't take me long to realize that, wow, I do
feel like Spider-Man.
But I do feel like this game is a bit repetitive, and also feels too much like many other games. But then you swing around and you forget and say, wow, this game is awesome. Spider-Man Miles Morales wasn't as lucky. I don't know if it was a combination of selling it as a full-price game with the main story being at most 8 hours long, or the feeling of it being a literal carbon copy of the first game. Even with the addition of Miles Morales' powers, I'm sorry, it just wasn't enough for me. I bought it at full price, but I didn't even get halfway through it. I was like, yeah, that's enough for me. Thank you. I still felt the same problems from the original game, but it felt like it got a lot worse here. I mean, although I didn't play the PS5 version, which could be the reason why I didn't get the full experience. I mean, if I have to upgrade to a whole new console to make a game better, that seems a bit much. Of course, with the PS5, obviously the graphics will look better, but I didn't have a problem with the graphics. I had a problem with the overall mechanics of the game. They say with the PS5 DualSense controller, you can feel Miles' bioelectricity surge through the controller as you're about to press the buttons. Well, to make up for that, while I was playing, I attached the car battery to my PC. Marvel Spider-Man 2 can literally be a rehash of the past 2 games. They could even add choices in the game that affects the outcome of the game. Similar to Web of Shadows.
You're right.
And NBA 2K.
Where am I?
They could even add the symbiote suit, which sounds kind of underwhelming since I already played as a black Spider-Man already. They could do all of this just as long as I can play as both Miles and Peter.
Will one of you?
I ain't talking about those story missions in the first game where you take over as Mary Jane or Miles without the powers. Like, whose idea was that? You know what we need to make our game more intense? Let's play as Mary Jane. Anyways, Marvel Spider-Man 2 just needs to input a system that allows us to switch off between the two. Two-player co-op, whether it be local or online, seems pretty much out of the question, which is fine. But the direction so far looks as though we may get the chance to choose which Spider-Man we want to be. In one of my earliest videos, I came across the same concept of switching between playable characters, but that was for God of War Ragnarok, which is set to come out next year or the year after, who knows. But I went in more depth about how the switching characters mechanic could be implemented, using different games as a reference. So if you'd like to check it out, I'll put it in the description below. Since both games are very similar to the Arkham series, I'm sure the switching back and forth between both characters will function the same as how Batman switches between Robin, Nightwing, and even Catwoman. So, vice versa. While Miles and Peter are fighting a group of enemies, you can switch between them the two in between takedowns, and then you can press the switch button again, and you can switch to Spider-Man the Cat, and if you press it again, you can switch to Mary Jane reading a book. There are a lot of ways they could do this. A popular way which could be used is the GTA 5 way, where you can switch anywhere at any given time. Miles could be flying around and chasing pigeons in New York, and then you switch to Peter, who is also chasing pigeons in New York. Whatever the hell way Insomniac is planning to do it, just get it done. I'm not a video game architect, but I don't see how hard it is to make this possible. Besides Miles' powers and dialogue and movement, they're virtually the same character, and you really couldn't tell the difference until their masks are off.
Falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
Oh, never mind. But we have to wait until 2023, so join me. Have a seat, we've got a long time till then. If anyone knows anyone who has a PS5, please leave their names, addresses, and what time they usually leave home in the comment section below. P.S. If Insomniac uses... Language! P.S. If Insomniac uses any of the systems of switching characters in this new Spider-Man game, they owe me. I have the videos, even a Google Doc and witnesses, which will all back me up in the court of law. So Insomniac, to avoid this, send a PS5 my way or face the consequences.